to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. I'm so excited and delighted to share with you today that I am welcoming a new sponsor to the podcast. Jaipur Living is joining our family. And today, to kick off this new sponsorship, I get the chance to interview Asha Chaudhary, who is the principal, the CEO of Jaipur Living. And today we're going to learn all of the goodies and the nooks and crannies about Jaipur and how they are here to support and help you with your interior design projects with their beautiful rugs and the different products that they offer. So, Asha, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you, Luann. Thank you for having me.
So, Asha, I want to share with you that from the literally the second I met you, I was just impressed is not quite the right word, although I was impressed. But there was a connection. I'm talking out of turn. You might be listening and thinking, okay, crazy lady, we're just doing business together. But I have to tell you that I did an event in your showroom at High Point, and Sasha was terrific to work with. And I thank Revel Woods and IDS for connecting us in my Doma. The three of those, my partners, all connected me with you guys. And when Sasha said to me, Luann, Asha, our CEO, would like to meet you. You are just a woman that makes an immediate impression. And I just wanted to tell you and share that with you, that it really, you just come right through as a person.
Oh, well, that's so kind of you. And thank you for sharing that. It's making me blush.
It's not easy to do. And you know what I'm saying? And the reason why what happens for me is, look, I've been around a few blocks in my lifetime and met a lot of people. And to me, that just immediately, at least right there, my brain goes to, this is a person with integrity, with soul, with heart, with intention. And I have to say, it's been 6 or 7 months since that meeting, and every single meeting with anyone on your team, including yourself, has supported that initial feeling and reaction I got to you. So I'm so grateful for this collaboration between the two of us. And I'm really looking forward to what we're going to create together. So I wanted to just publicly acknowledge you and thank you for that.
Thank you for those amazing words, Luann. And I believe that's the core of who we are as a company and who I am as well. And we strive to be authentic and real. So thank you for recognizing that. Mm-hmm. And we're super excited with this partnership as well.
Okay. So let's talk about, before we do talk about your product line and how you work with interior designers and support them on their projects and everything, there was an Instagram post that you guys put out a couple of weeks ago. I think it was on National Women's Day or something, International Women's Day, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And I'm going to tell you what, I read that post and I was like, whoa. You said on the post, you were acknowledging how your father picked your family up and moved 1,000 miles away to a different part of India because he had daughters and he wanted daughters to grow up with the ability to be who they wanted to be. And the part of India that you were in didn't necessarily support that?
Yes, that's correct. So my parents lived in a small town in India. And so when the 3 daughters were born, my father noticed that my mom was always looked down upon by the family, by our society. And he quite didn't understand that. And she was looked down, especially because she had no sons. So my dad reached out to one of his best friends, Eiley Cooper, who used to live in London, and wanted to get his opinion. And, he said to my father that, the Indian society differentiates between sons and daughters, which leaves the daughters behind and the sons getting really spoiled. So he told my dad that you're the luckiest person to have three daughters because women are more receptive, they're efficient, and they're more caring. And I believe that was a turning point in my parents' life where they recognized that if they wanted to give us and bring us up as bold, independent individuals, they wanted to move us away from where we were. So they moved miles away and uprooted their entire life so that me and my the three sisters could have everything that sons have in India. And then later on, I do have two brothers who were born, but I have never ever seen my parents or anyone differentiate between us, the sons or the daughters. So I say I'm very grateful and very lucky to have such visionary parents.
That's remarkable. I mean, we're not talking about, hey, let me move a half hour away. You're talking about literally leave, and probably, if I imagine it, his entire, and both of your families, probably parents, whole families must have lived in that particular area, right?
Absolutely. And remember, this was in 1982, 83.
Wow.
So imagine, and I do believe we talk about the differentiation between, sons and daughters even now. I mean, 40 years later, this is still a challenge, but they imagine their perception and their boldness at that time. So.
I mean, there had to be family members, with parents, aunts, uncles that were like, "You're out of your mind. What are you doing?"
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, my dad has always been a rebel, and I think now he's rated as one of the top rebels because he's always. He always defied convention. And the other piece was, given my family background and where I come from, I remember being in high school and telling my father that, Dad, I want to go to the US. I want to go study abroad. And the first things that came out of his mouth were, "Oh my God, who's going to carry that heavy suitcase? How are you going to do that?" I still remember those words. And where I come from, I mean, the girl doesn't even get out of town. Like, she doesn't even go study outside her neighborhood that she lives in. Forget about like moving to a whole different part of the world to get her education. So, they of course uprooted their life, but this was the other very bold decision they made where they trusted me and they let me follow my dreams, and they did everything to support me so that I could come here to the US. And I came here in 97 to do my undergrad. I was in Ithaca for a year and then moved to Atlanta because Ithaca was so cold, and coming from 100 degrees to minus 10 degrees, like
Not
5.
good research there on your part, Asha.
Hey, well, guess what? There was no internet in India in 97. So everything I had read from like all these books, didn't tell me that. So I'm grateful for their boldness. And after I came, my two sisters followed me, and so did my brothers. So it's been an amazing journey.
Wow, it is remarkable, I have to say. And did your dad have sisters when he grew up? Or, when you said he didn't realize this, is it because he didn't have sisters?
No, he did. He had three sisters.
He just didn't think of it as a kid. It was like he was doing his thing. He didn't realize how much he was treated differently until he saw his wife being treated differently.
Absolutely. Sometimes you have to live it. And
yes, it's true.
And,
that's a very common thing, right? We all say to our kids, one day you'll get it. It's not so easy to put dinner on the table 7 nights a week.
Totally. And I guess he had three daughters. But, I think what he saw in his daughters is what he has been able to do in the company, because we have about 48,000 artisans. About 70% of these are women, and it's remarkable how he has been able to. He treats each and every one of these just like his daughters, and he's been able to get the best out of our artisans and put them on a global platform that is never heard of. So, I'm always inspired by him, and he's my mentor. So
that's amazing. Now,
yes.
Is he in the company still at this point? I know that you're the CEO, but is he still there as an advisory chairman of the board, or has he retired?
No, so my dad, so I'm on the US side, working on our distribution center. My dad is still very active, wakes up at 4 a.m., starts work at 5 a.m., and works 15-hour days in India on our production and manufacturing side. So he's still very active.
Nice. And are any of your siblings in the business as well?
Absolutely. So all my siblings are in the business. My sister here is a COO in the US, and my brother Nitesh, he's our innovation officer. So he works between the India offices and the US offices in connecting the supply chain. So he's here about 6 months and 6 months in India. And then my younger sister is our design director in India. And then my brother also, who lives in India, looks after our international sales outside of the US and Canada.
Wow.
And locally within India as well. So we are also working with the design community heavily in India and growing that part of the business. So he's looking after that.
It's a remarkable story. I just love it. And I thank you so much for sharing it with us, because it's just, I as much as I can imagine it or picture it, I really can't. You know what I'm saying? I really can't.
No.
It's pretty remarkable. And your dad must be an amazing guy.
He is an incredible guy. He's called the Gandhi of the rug business. So I hope you'll have an opportunity to meet him sometime. He's very humble, and he's really recognized by some of the top Fortune 500 CEOs as well for his vision and thoughts, because Jaipur's mission is really providing dignity at the grassroots level. And he feels like over the last 40 years, people have done incredible amount of innovation and how we run businesses, but nobody has really worked on elevating the human dignity. And we feel that through our work and through what it is that we do for our artisans, that's one thing we've been able to do very successfully, and I feel very proud of that.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. I love it. It's so exciting. Thank you for sharing that. I just was really looking forward to hearing that out of, that whole depth of it. So, okay, let's learn about Jaipur Living. Let's learn about it. Let's find out. So, you have this whole handmade custom line of rugs that interior designers can sign up and have their trade account. And you've won awards at the last 2 Dallas Arts Awards and 3 Design Awards at Domotex in Germany. So you want to tell us a little bit about this and what's happening there that's so exciting that you keep winning these awards?
We've come a long way. It's always been about being relevant to our interior design community and constantly, making things, improving our customer experience, our products. So, we've been very focused, so we're very easy to work with our trade partners. 95% of our interior designers rate us better than our competitors when it comes to product and customer service. So, over the last year as well, we've invested very heavily on our website. I would recommend everybody to go to www.jaipurliving.com and check it out. And some of my favorite features includes having access to real-time inventory, being able to do Pantone color matching. As you mentioned, Luann, that custom is a big part of our business. And so what we have done on the website is customers can get instant quote. If you're logged into your account, you can get a quote in less than 30 seconds, along with how long it will take for you to get that custom rug. Another favorite feature that I love is for customers they can go into their portal and save multiple projects and save different images in the projects. So these are just a handful of things, along with us having, I would call it, one of the best comprehensive swatch program, where we offer free swatches in every single product that we do. So it's very easy for you to see the texture, color, touch and feel it, take it on your projects to your customers, and you can return it if you like or keep it. And so these are a few things that we have really invested heavily on, along with like a dedicated customer service, having thousands of products available to ship, and we ship within 4 to 6 hours of getting an order, so you can count on it. We're always consistent and reliable. So these are a handful of things that we've really been focused on. And as you mentioned, one thing that also makes us stand out is our award-winning designs and collections. Quality has always been at the center of what we do. And we have, I would call it, one of the best sort of design teams and a research department. And we're constantly taking feedback and really sort of elevating the design boundaries and coming up with beautiful things that we know our customers need across all kinds of price points.
Well, that's quite a list of features and benefits. So I'm going to pick it apart a little bit if you let me.
Of course. Please.
So for instance, the first thing is real-time inventory. That's very interesting, and that's a great feature. So if a designer is pulling together any size project, whether it's one room or multiple rooms, when they go on, they can say, okay, this is available for delivery, and not worry about, having, I hear so often how designers have to obviously, task their juniors with call for status, wait for the status. Did you get it? What's happening? Blah, blah, blah. This is like you go right on the website and you can find out whether it's in stock. Okay. And so it leaves within 4 to 6 hours. That's crazy. It's like a rug emergency.
Everybody wants instant gratification. We've got the Amazon effect, that's setting our expectations. And so, we give you the exact number, in fact, Luann. And if we don't have that in stock, it also tells you exactly what is the ETA of that particular item. So let's assume you're working on a project where your timeline is 6 to 8 weeks down. You can still see that if it would arrive in time for your project.
Okay. And that's pretty interesting, because I'm thinking, like, when I go onto the Kravet website, it's very similar, right? It says, okay, these are the exact pieces that are in stock, 2.2 yards of this, 10.10 yards of that, or in production at the mill, due XYZ date. So that's what you're saying. It's that same similar transparency in the inventory.
Correct. And you don't have to log in for you to see that. So basically, if let's say you have an account with us, but if you want any of your team members to be able to see that, they can just go to our website and see that information.
Oh, and you could also, if you were working with the client right there, you don't have to log into the back end where they can see the pricing. You can just say, let's just see if this one is available now, and just go.
Absolutely.
Nice. That's nice. That's a nice feature. Okay. And then let's talk about the custom Pantone coloring, and all of that. So tell us how that works. When I go to your website, of course, there's just dozens and dozens of beautiful rugs that are already there. Is this the sort of feature where I can say, hey, that rug right there, but I would like it done with this kind of coloring? Is that what we're talking about?
Absolutely. So first thing we offer is a custom size. So let's say every rug we do comes up in a list of standard, say 5 to 6 sizes. But then if you wanted to customize a size specifically for you, you can just hit a button. And again, you can do this right when you're on the website. And you can put your dimensions that you're looking for, and it'll give you your exact price. And we have two options that we give our clients when it comes to custom rugs. One is an expedited option, and the other one is our regular option. The expedited option is where we actually bring the rug by air, so it sort of reduces your delivery time by 6 weeks. And in the last 1 year, we have really worked very hard on connecting our supply chain, as I mentioned earlier, so that our lead times on handmade rugs, normally I would say most of our competition runs between 4 to 6 months, and we've been able to reduce ours by at least 20-30% because of the efficiency of our supply chain. Now, if you wanted to do custom color, or if you wanted to just come up with your own design, for instance, you can do that too. And we have an inquiry form that you can submit right there, which gives us a little bit more, where you can tell us a little bit more about what it is that you like to do. And then one of our team members will contact you to get more information, and we'll do a strike off and et cetera, to sort of make sure that we're capturing your vision and making it come to life.
What I really love, go ahead.
Sorry, and I did want to say, now we don't offer custom in our machine-made products, but so you can also see on the website very clearly what products are available for custom and which ones are not, so you don't have any confusion with that information.
So that's a good point, and we'll talk about that a little bit with the machine made. So right now, though, all of everything you're saying, all those features and benefits are with the custom line, and they're handmade. This custom line is handmade.
That is correct. Everything, all custom is handmade only.
Okay. And so that is another benefit, because I would not have been surprised if you were said, hey, when you get to the website, there's 5 to 7 standard sizes there. As soon as you want a different size, just put it in and one of us will contact you back within 24 hours. But it's like, no, I get to know it right now.
Absolutely. And also with handmaids, you have limitation, right? Every construction, every texture, so you can only do certain length, or you can do only 18 feet width or 20 feet, for instance. So all of those limitations are already built into our website, so that when you're searching for something, it won't give you wrong information or inaccurate information. So let's say you're trying to customize a project that requires a 30-foot wide dimension width, but that particular construction that you're looking at can only handle up to 24. It's going to tell you that the largest width you can do is 24. So that way you can look at an alternative, or you can, we can help you find something else that would better fit that criteria.
That's great. That's nice when that's built into the feature, because if it's not built in and you don't do your homework, you end up selling something that can't ultimately be produced. And now you have to go back to your client and say, sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, absolutely. Our goal has been, how do we simplify the entire buying experience for our customers and our design partners, and that's why we're trying to make a lot of this information available to them right when they need to access it, so they don't have to wait 24 hours or 2 days to get some of these answers back. And we're hearing some amazing feedback from them, and we're constantly getting comments like, oh, I would love to see one more of this more, and this, or I'd love to see if you can add this feature, and we're completely listening and making sure that we're continuously evolving and adding to the things that our design partners appreciate. Like I mentioned about the project list, where they really wanted to save, if I'm a designer and I'm working on 4 projects at a time, and each project I'm trying to find, say, 5, 7, 10 items, you can actually just save all your different projects, in 4 different sort of small boxes, and then be able to pull different products and save them individually, so you don't get confused about what's what, and you can name them, and you can add additional projects from other websites on it. So it's really cool. It really helps you organize things in an easy way that you can access and understand.
I can see the benefit of that clearly when you describe it like that, because instead of having one big, here's your cart, view your cart, and there's 40 rugs for 5 projects, and you're like, okay, which one was the guest bedroom for client Smith, and which one was the kids' room, right? So that's and what's interesting is that was that born out of feedback from designers that were working with you and said, hey, this is driving me to drink here? Could you do this?
Absolutely.
Love it.
That's exactly it. As I said, we're constantly listening and improving on our features. So recently, one thing we heard was like, if I'm a designer and I have four other people working for me, I'd like to have them go on the website and be able to see some things, but maybe not able to see the pricing. So now we're working on coming up with how you can create sub-accounts for people in your firm and give them access to different features that you'd want them to know or not know. So
that's interesting. Okay,
yeah.
so that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that that was such a high level concern. I would think that, it's in, you're all in the same company, but the fact is that what I always know is if one person needs it, there's a lot more than need it, right? So if somebody's
Yes.
asking, other people are thinking about it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's very cool. And then when so you have this 4 to 6 hour, it goes out for delivery if it's in stock. The same, I would think, is probably the same quick and fast responsive with wanting swatches. They're just are the swatches in Atlanta so that if we want a swatch right away, it leaves Atlanta, or that doesn't come from India, right?
No, yeah, they're all in Atlanta. So we definitely, we run about 92% in stock rate. So I mean, we try and make sure that we can keep all our swatches in stock all the time. And if it is in stock, then it would ship out to you, as I said, within the 4 to 6 hour window.
Wow.
And if you're in Georgia, for instance, like we're based in just 30 minutes north of Atlanta. So if you're in the Southeast, normally, if you place an order today, you can probably expect to get it tomorrow.
Very nice. And one of the things I didn't think to ask you, Asha, is because, of course, the podcast goes to like 120 countries. So are there places where you are not set up to do business, or are you set up to do like I have a huge listenership in Australia and the UK. I mean, is that all? This is all available to those interior designers as well?
So yes, so UK, Australia, we service those particular countries out of our India operations. So they can go to jaipurrugs.com and they can shop our products. And I believe they offer very similar features, but it's not exactly identical to what we offer. They do have swatches. They do offer a lot of the similar programs that we do. But as I mentioned, I don't know everything about that part of it. So don't count me. But it's very, very similar because as I said, we are servicing the interior design community and making sure that we can have the same features available worldwide.
Okay. All right. And again, so if you're in Germany, if you're in Spain or whatever, just try either jaipurrugs.com or jaipurliving.com and you'll figure it out. Like you'll get to where you need to get to.
Exactly. I think the URL does it automatically. So if you're going from Germany, it'll take you to the rug site. If you're coming from the United States, takes you to the Jaipur Living website.
Okay. And this is a good spot that I really do like to drive this home, that the URL that we want designers to use is jaipurliving.com/Luann, because you want to track that the podcast is performing for you. And so, so Jaipur Living, JAIPUR living.com/Luann. And this way, Asha knows that you heard about it from her interview here.
Thanks, Luann.
No, well, listen. If you don't track it, you can't know what's going on, right? And that's the whole point of that. So
we have a saying internally: "What gets measured gets done."
Exactly, exactly. The first person who ever said that to me was my friend Sandra Funk from House of Funk. I know she didn't make it up, but it's the first time I ever heard that saying, and I was like, "You're right." So
absolutely,
that's it. Okay, all right. Now, tell us about some of the other things. You have a mood blog for inspiration and education that you have on there. Tell us about that. Actually, you know what? I want to take a step backwards for a second.
Sure.
You said something to me off air that I want to make sure that we share. You said to me the mission of Jaipur. Okay, it's not just about creating rugs. Tell us all a little bit more about that.
Yeah, our mission is simple, Luann. It's to create beautiful lives for our artisan customers, employees, and their families. And as I mentioned to you, we really do this by making sure that we're bringing our weavers' art directly into the homes and making sure that our artisans live with dignity. So, and a really great example of this is a program we run called Manchaha, which means from the heart. And that this program has won 8 global awards, and our artisans have been recognized at an international stage. And the way this program came about was, every time you make a rug, you have a little bit of yarn left that the artisan sends back along with the finished product. And we didn't know what to do with this yarn. And we were like, is there a sustainable way of repurposing this yarn? So we invited some of our best artisans and said, pick out any colors, anything you want, and just make something that comes to your mind that you'd like to weave. That's not an actual design or a map that's given to you. So they started weaving some of these incredibly beautiful rugs, which, as I mentioned now, have been recognized at a global platform with almost 4 German design awards. And I think now it's been 2 of our artists recently, one went to London, one went to Germany to take these awards, and they've actually never stepped out of their village or gone to school or, had any kind of education. So this is the part of our mission that honestly inspires me every single day, inspires me to make sure that we keep connecting these dots. And I also feel, in a way, I feel like we're alone in the sense that we're the only company that's working so hard to keep this art of weaving alive, because everybody's going after machine made and going after fast fashion in our industry, I believe. So, the rug weaving art is not an easy art to learn. Like if you wanted to learn how to make a rug, it's probably going to take you and I at least a year or 2 years before we can even do few knots. Yeah. So this is passed down from generation. So we're working really hard to make sure that we can educate our interior designer partners and consumers behind, the craftsmanship and what goes behind making these products, so they can share those stories with the consumers and educate their customers on, what's the importance of a handmade rug and what does it do and why should they purchase that over anything else. So sorry for the long answer on the mission.
That's exactly what and I got goosebumps when you said that these 2 artists had never been out of their village, let alone the country, and they're traveling to receive these international awards. That's remarkable.
Oh, and Luann, I'll tell you, these are just 2 small stories. If I shared with you some of the stories that I've personally felt when I've traveled to India and in our villages, I mean, I feel like it transforms who you are, it's, and this was also actually recognized. Our story has been listed in this book by Raj Sisodia, who's considered as one of the top management gurus, in his recent book called The Healing Organization. He wrote a book with John McKee, the founder of Whole Foods, before this book came out. And in this book, The Healing Organization, he talks about organizations that are really healing the world and healing the community. And Jaipur is listed as an example and a case study. And I think it's because of the powerful impact that we have had at the grassroots level in changing the lives of so many people that are working with us, and also how that transforms into the lives of our customers who actually go visit and see this happen real time. So,
see, and here's the thing, I have to say, wow. Okay. Just wow, wow, wow. But then B, translate this to a business lesson here. So here's what I want to say to the designer listening. There is power in, we talk about for the last 4 years on this show, Asha, the Fred Burns only. Fred is a guest that's been on the show 7, 8, 9 times. And he has often talked about find your only and communicate that only to your client. And this is that power right there. And many designers struggle to figure out What is my only? And sometimes your only is I cater to and service busy working families to help them have beautiful homes that they can live in. That's a great only. Sometimes your only is something like this, that you are part of your company mission is to bring quality of life and to create change and impact at the grassroots level, like you said, of your artisans. And so, here's our dual business lesson in here. In my first book, and almost any time I do a live presentation, solo presentation, I talk about what is your mission? Why are you doing this? And here is this combination of this huge lesson, because is there anyone listening that's not going to remember the story of Jaipur? Is there anyone listening that's not going to be affected by this at a level that the next time you're sourcing a rug, can you really ignore going to the website? Like, I don't think you can. I don't think you can. Like, I don't think you can. I'm just call me crazy. But I think if I'm a designer listening and 2 weeks from now, I've got to find a rug, I'm going to at least got to say to myself, maybe I should try jaipurlivings.com. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so powerful what you're doing. And as a business owner, it's important that we express that. And so again, to just translate the business lesson, I wrote an article a couple of months back that it came out in Window Fashion Vision magazine, and I talked about the power of storytelling. And I talked about how at WindowWorks, I'm consistently teaching the 3 salespeople that work for us that they have to, when they go in, okay, yes, you're going in to sell a drape, you're going in to sell an awning. But if you only talk about the drape or the awning, you are missing the 40 years that my husband and our cousin have put into building the story of WindowWorks. Go in and say family owned and operated since 1980. Go in and say they're still there leading and managing the company. Go in and tell them why we do this. And you see, that's like, I love your story, but this is the business lesson. Get your potential client invested in why you are doing what you're doing. And your story illustrates it so powerfully why it matters to do that, right?
Absolutely. I always say, Luann, that business is all about human connections. So once you connect by heart, everything becomes easier and simpler. And I have been told so many stories about our interior designers. In fact, a recent one I'll share with you, it's a designer out of Canada, and she had pitched a $15,000 really beautiful, woolen silk rug from us to their customer. Now that when she presented that rug, the customer's like, well, why don't I just spend $2,800 on this rug from Wayfair? And then she showed the customer a video of, it's a 2-3 minute video of how the rug is made and what kind of impact, this product has on the communities where it comes from, as well as how the quality of the product, will make their life beautiful. And she said they did not flinch for a second and said, okay, yes, I want to get this rug. And it just, she shared with me how, yes, it took her 15 minutes, but how that really impacted their decision making. And this is where I feel like our goal is how we can continue to tell the stories and educate our design partners, that being able to share the back end of the story is so critical, because people connect with people. And when you share this, it really helps them understand, why should I not spend $500 on a Wayfair rug or a machine-made rug, and why I could spend $3,000 or more, depending on your budget. So, exactly. So thank you for sharing that. I totally agree.
It does. It makes a difference, especially for the client who it's their option, A or B. It's, you know what I mean? And all you do is give them a reason to choose option A that makes them feel good. And that particular client has probably told the story 10 times anytime somebody's come into their house. I wish I could show you this video. It's amazing what this company is doing, right?
Absolutely.
It's like art, right? It's the same reason that people get attached to art. When you tell the story of the painter, of the artist, of the sculptor, then all of a sudden it becomes a living thing in your home, not just an object in your home.
Absolutely. And our vision long term, it's going to take some time and a lot of amazing technology is to make sure that every rug that you see, you're able to connect with the story of the artisan that made it, so that it's front and center. We want to bring full transparency in our supply chain, so that and I'm sure we have all heard that customers want to know more. They want to know what's the backstory, where it comes from. So our vision is how we can do that eventually, where every rug has a story and where it comes from. So when the customer is buying the rug, they're able to see that village and, visualize what that must be like.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And of course, it doesn't surprise me to know, after all of this conversation about your mission and how it's so personal to you and you're so committed to it as a family and as a company, that, you are providing the artisans with a sustainable wage that is higher than the industry average. And you're also giving them access to healthcare and education and social development opportunities. I mean, it's not just a pretty story. It's like really layers and layers of commitment to the mission.
Absolutely. And the foundation has been really active to make sure that in all areas of our artisan, healthcare, social, making sure they're sending their children to school, especially their girl child, because there's a tendency in villages that after 8th or 10th grade, they'll be like, oh, do I really need to educate my daughter? So just setting those mindsets and changing, those age-old traditions. And so And just as I mentioned, my dad's all about, bringing out the leadership in women and making those women stand on their own feet so they don't rely on their husbands. I mean, those are all the different areas that we really heavily focus on, along with, of course, giving them sustainable livelihood through the work.
It's so funny because every once in a while I talk with somebody who runs a business and I think, I want to work for you. Like, I want to go to India and be mentored by your dad.
It would
amazing.
Transform you. Yeah, we have that experience on Airbnb actually. So if you are visiting India and Jaipur, you can actually go to the village. You can meet our artisans. We make it all very transparent. You can see how and where they live. We feel that's important, So you have my invitation anytime you want to do that.
I'm telling you, it sounds so remarkable. And you know what's so funny is, I knew only a tiny part of this after meeting you and after us agreeing to do sponsorship together. Of course, but to hear it from you, it is so much more in depth, but doesn't it? It just goes right back to that very first moment that I met you. It's like every single thing that I got in an instant eye contact and handshake is literally supported by everything you've said in this conversation. It's the truth.
Thank you.
It really
Thank
is, you. Asha. I mean, I have to say, like, I'm gushing a little bit here, but there is something about that, and I don't want that to be lost on the designers listening. I want you, as a designer listening, to understand the value and all of the practical reasons why it makes sense to work with Jaipur. No question, this delivery program, the ability to design your own rugs, to get samples in a day or two, to have rugs shipped within the same day to you, to know in real time inventory, to know that there's quality artisans behind it that are creating beautiful product, and that all of the materials are beautiful and well inspected and everything like that. But the thing is the other benefit to you as a designer is this huge lesson to sit now and think about, what is your story? What is the thing that will connect your client? And that's why, it's funny, Asha, I recently had a conversation with a designer, and we were talking, and what she said to me was, I suggested that she reach out to someone to ask a question. And she said, well, I feel I don't want to do that. I don't know that it's appropriate for me to do that, because technically the person that I suggested that she reach out and ask a question to is a designer within a 10-mile radius of her. Mm-hmm. And the one designer is newer in business than the one I suggested that she reach out to, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. And she said, well, I'm not sure that's appropriate. She goes, I would not want to put that designer in the position of answering questions about how her business is run, knowing that I'm right here in the same community doing business. And I just said to her, take that out of your head. I know this other person intimately and know that this other person would be happy to share. But the proof of what it is right here. Each of these two designers, even though they might be 10 miles away from each other, have completely different stories. They have completely different, forget talent. Can be both of the same level talent, but completely different. This is what you said. You said business is all about the human connection. This is how you sell a design project. You make that connection with the person as a human being. We expect your talent to come along with it, right?
Absolutely. And I think the world now is all about bringing everybody's creativity, in one platform. And it's about collaboration and sharing and forming partnerships. I believe that's how we'll all learn to coexist and get better. So I totally concur with what you said. And yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievable. I'm so impressed. And now I'm so excited for this next 6 months to pass and to continue to learn more about the products and the services and to hear the reaction from the designers of using your product and specifying it on their projects. I mean, and here's the thing. As we go through the next 6 months, I will be sharing with you more and more tidbits about Jaipur Living and the values and the features and the benefits of working with them. But this was the thing that you needed to learn, is you needed to learn that this is a company that has human beings running it. That's the most amazing thing. And you know what? I'm so lucky because all of my sponsors are this way. You know what I mean? It's such a great little thing that we have here with the most amazing businesses that are just really, when you were talking about how you take suggestions from the different designers, I couldn't help but think about Sarah Daniele, the CEO of My Doma Studio, our common friend, right? And she's so much of what's on the My Doma Studio platform comes from just exactly what you said. The designer saying, I could do this. Could I have that? Right? And that is a forward thinking company, because I don't imagine that it's so easy to just, put the brakes on and say, should we do that? You know what I'm saying? Totally.
I think business is all about, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and listening to your customers and constantly innovating. And I feel like in the day and age we're living today, if we're not listening and innovating, we'll be left behind. So.
Unbelievable. Totally. I love it. I love it. I love it. Asha, I don't know. I mean, there is a lot that we still do need to learn about your company, but my feeling is I want to save it as I, talk about you over the coming months. But is there any one thing that we didn't cover that you thought, Lan, halo, don't go away just yet?
No, I think you've done a great job, and I'm so grateful to be able to share our story and how we work with interior designers. And I hope it inspires everybody to be a part of our community and help our design and our artisan community.
Well, I'm inspired. I not only want a job, but I want to see if we can start to use your product somewhere. I'm just saying.
We try to make it really easy, Luann. So I hope we can do that.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Asha, thank you so much for coming today. And I just want to remind everybody, please go to Jaipur, Jaipur living.com/Luann. Take a look at all of these features, the delivery, the access to the inventory, the ability to price whatever size, whether it's a standard size that's available or you want to price your own custom size, to get your swatches sent to you right away, to be able to specify a particular color on a product and a design that exists. And that video, is that video on the website, Asha?
Yes, we have a video link, and we have some amazing videos.
Okay,
Luann,
yes. So we got to look at some of those. I can't wait to see some of those. So thank you again. I appreciate it so much. Looking forward to the next 6 months with you, Asha.
Likewise, Luann. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at luannigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.